good evening, or good morning, whenever and wherever you are. Tonight, we'll journey back to the Roman Empire, but not to the emperors or the battles. We'll drift slowly through the ordinary, the mundane, the parts of history you probably didn't learn in school. Why living a single day in the Roman Empire would be more difficult than you might imagine. And after that, we'll continue drifting to explore quiet corners of ancient daily life, from food to toilets to the texture of tunics. So, let your body relax, let your mind wander, and let's begin. You awaken on a straw mattress in a dim apartment block called an insula. There is no pillow, just a folded wool tunic under your neck. It's early. The sun is barely over the rooftops. You hear clattering pots, a neighbor shouting to their son, a cart rolling over cobblestones. There is no coffee, no toothbrush. To clean your teeth, you use a twig or rinse your mouth with vinegar. You slip on your sandals. The straps are rough, and the sole is worn because leather was costly. You step outside. The alley smells, not unpleasantly, but unmistakably, of humanity and horses. The morning air is warm, but not yet hot. Roman cities did not wake all at once. They stirred, gradually. Vendors begin to set up. Wooden stalls, cloth awnings are pulled taut to shield against the sun. You walk down the narrow street, lined with stone buildings. Shadows are long, and the ground is uneven. From centuries of footsteps, you pass a fountain. It trickles gently. People fill clay jugs or splash water on their faces. But you do not drink from it directly. Water was not always clean. Boiling it was safer if you had the time. At the bakery, the day's bread is ready. Flat loaves, rough crusts, made mostly of spelt, sometimes with grit from the grinding stones. You chew slowly. The bread is dense, dry, and it crumbles in your hand. For many, this is breakfast. Bread and perhaps olives, or cheese, if you were lucky. No jam, no butter, no eggs. Eggs were known, but not common, and often reserved for the wealthy. The streets begin to hum. Voices echo off the stone. Children chase each other between carts and chickens. A senator might pass by in a clean white toga, attended by servants. But most people wear tunics, plain, wool, practical, and they smell, as people do. When bathing is an occasional event, hygiene was not quite what you'd expect. Or rather, it was exactly what you'd expect from a world without plumbing, soap, or privacy. Let's begin with the toilet. You do not have a toilet in your home, not unless you are wealthy. And even then, it is likely a wooden bench over a clay pot. For most, there is the latrina publica, the public toilet. You approach one, half sheltered by stone walls, with an open entrance. There is no door. Inside, a long flat bench of stone with evenly spaced holes. You do not sit privately. There are others beside you, talking, laughing perhaps, passing time. Beneath the bench, a channel of water carries waste away. If the aqueducts are functioning, it flows smoothly. To clean yourself, there is no toilet paper. Instead, a stick with a sponge on the end, called a tersorium. It rests in a shallow gutter, rinsed in cold water, and shared by everyone. You try not to think about it. After your visit, you walk further. The dust of the street clings to your sandals. Your hands feel gritty. You begin to long for a bath. In Rome, bathing is not done alone. It is a social affair, a daily ritual. For those who can afford the time, you arrive at the thermae, the public baths. Outside, a bustle of voices. Cloaks are removed, sandals tucked aside. You pay a small fee. Inside, the air is humid, warm, echoing. You begin in the apoditerium, the changing room. You place your belongings in a cubby. There are no locks, just hope that no one will take your things. From here, you move slowly to the tepidarium, the warm room. The heat soaks into your skin. The stone walls glisten. You sit on a low bench and breathe deeply. The warmth relaxes your muscles. You feel heavy in the most comfortable way. Then you enter the caldarium, the hot room. The air is thick. Steam curls upward from the heated floor. Your body is slick with sweat. Someone nearby uses a strigule, a curved metal tool, to scrape off oil, dirt, and dead skin. You do the same. There is no soap, just olive oil, rubbed on, then scraped away. Finally, you cool down in the frigidarium, the cold plunge. The water shocks you, but only for a moment. Then stillness. You lie back, your ears beneath the surface, and all the sounds of the world muffle into quiet. As you dress again, your skin feels refreshed, but not perfumed. The Romans were clean, in their own way, but never sterile. The scent of oil and smoke and life lingered on them always. You step out into the light of day, your body warmer and your pace slower. The city continues around you, and your Roman day has only just begun. The sun is higher now. Its rays fall directly onto the cobbled streets. Stone walls absorb the heat and slowly begin to radiate it back, like ancient ovens. You begin to feel hungry, not the sharp hunger of a feast, but the gentle dullness of needing something to carry you into the afternoon. You follow your nose and your ears toward the Macellum, the marketplace. The air is alive with sounds and smells. Vendors call out, some in Latin, others in Greek, some with gestures alone. Children dart between stalls, holding coins or stealing fruit. The first thing you notice is the bread. Loaves, flat and round, stacked high. Some are fresh, some from yesterday. All are dry. There is no yeast, no soft inside. You break off a piece. It crumbles. Next to the bread stall, olives in every color, green, black, purple, soaked in brine, stored in clay jars. You pick a few. They are salty, rich in oil, and slightly bitter. Then cheese, pecorino, hard and sharp, stored in wax, carried from the countryside. A vendor slices a sliver for you and presses it into your palm. You chew. It's rough, but satisfying. You continue on and find a thermopolium. This is the Roman fast food shop, a stone counter with round holes cut into it. Inside each hole is a sunken pot filled with something warm, stew, maybe lentils or barley, cooked with bits of vegetable and scraps of meat. You pay a few coins and are given a bowl. You sit on a low wall. The bowl is heavy. You lift it slowly to your mouth and sip. The stew is earthy, not spicy, but comforting, filling. Beside you, a man eats quietly. His tunic is stained with ash. A laborer, perhaps from the kilns. He nods. You nod back. No words are needed. Further down the street, you pass a fishmonger. The smell is, as you would expect. Fish lie on woven mats, packed with crushed ice, brought from the mountains. Expensive, rare. Some fish are salted, others dried. Most Romans don't eat large meals during the day. Instead, they nibble. They sip watered wine or vinegar drinks called pasca. You try a cup of pasca. It is sour, sharp, strange, but refreshing, and cheap. You chew the last of your bread and watch the carts go by, loaded with figs and onions, an amphory of olive oil. Flies buzz lazily. Dogs sleep in doorways. Time slows down, and your stomach is more or less satisfied. The sun is now overhead. Its light is bright but golden. Shadows shrink. People squint, and the world feels slightly slower. For some, the workday continues. For others, it never ended. Let us walk and watch what the Romans do. You pass a man in robes, seated on a wooden stool, a notarius, a scribe. He dips a reed pen into ink and writes slowly on a sheet of papyrus. Beside him, a client speaks, dictating a letter, perhaps to a relative, perhaps to a creditor. The scribe nods, pauses, writes. He earns a few coins for each message, but the ink stains on his hands are permanent. Across the street, you hear the steady tapping of a cobbler's hammer. A sandal is being repaired. The leather, brittle, the sole cracked, but materials are precious, so everything is reused. The cobbler works quietly, no need for talk. The rhythm of his tapping is his language. Next to him, a woman sells scraps of wool, spun loosely in skeins, dyed with herbs, ochre, madder, indigo. She winds thread onto a spindle, absent-mindedly, her hands practiced. Further on, in a courtyard, a man carves a marble slab. He is a stonemason, or perhaps a sculptor. The tools are heavy. The work is slow. Dust clings to his arms, his beard, his eyelashes. Chiseling, bit by bit, a face appears. The eyes first, then the nose. He pauses, examines the light, then continues. Now let us look beyond the city walls, to the countryside. There, a farmer bends over a field. His tunic is damp with sweat. He is guiding a wooden plow, drawn by oxen. The soil is dry. The sun is high, but the furrows are straight and neat. Children scatter seeds, chickpeas, lentils, maybe millet. Another man tends grapevines. He ties them with strips of bark, so they grow upward. This is not glamorous work, but it is the heartbeat of the empire. And not all workers are free. In a workshop, a row of slaves stand at looms. Their hands move quickly, weaving wool into cloth. They do not speak. The overseer watches. They will not leave. When the sun sets, they will eat in the same room, sleep on the same straw. This is their life, and has always been. In another part of the city, a man shouts above the crowd. He is selling charms, small bronze figurines, each with a different god. He waves one in the air. For fortuna, he says. For luck in business. People pass him by, but some stop. Coins change hands. He smiles, but his eyes are tired. Work in Rome is everywhere. On rooftops, where tiles are replaced. In kitchens, where pots are scrubbed. In dark corners, where scrolls are copied. But it moves slowly, without clocks, without appointments. Only the sun, and the bells, and the rhythm of the day. You find a step to sit on. Your limbs are heavy. The heat has found your bones, and for now, you rest. You walk down a narrow alley, the sunlight fading behind the rooftops. The buildings lean in toward one another, their stone walls stained with age, patched and repatched by hands long forgotten. You arrive at a doorway, simple, wooden, and slightly ajar. You push it open. This is your insula, an apartment block for the working class. Inside, it is dim. The light enters only through small windows, high on the walls, and only if you live on the upper floors. Your room is not large. A single bed, made of wood and rope, with a worn mattress, stuffed with straw. A clay oil lamp flickers on a low table. The flame is small and sputters slightly, casting wobbly shadows across the wall. There is no kitchen. You eat at taverns or buy food from stalls. You do have a jug of water and a small pot of olives From the morning's market, they will be your dinner. You sit on a stool. The floor is cold. It is swept clean, but smells faintly of smoke. From the brazier in the corner, you share a wall with neighbors, and the wall is thin. You hear a woman humming, a child crying, a dog barking somewhere below. This is life in the insulae, stacked side by side, above and beneath each other. If a fire breaks out, it spreads quickly. Many do not escape, so you keep your sandals next to the door, just in case. But not all Romans live this way. Let's walk again, this time toward the hills, where the streets are wider and quieter. Here, behind iron gates, are the domus, the homes of the wealthy. You are allowed to visit as a guest. You enter through the grand doorway into the atrium. The floor is polished mosaic, tesserae of black and white, depicting waves, vines, and sea creatures. Above you, an open skylight, the compluvium. Beneath it, a shallow pool, the impluvium, to collect rainwater. The air smells faintly of myrrh, and beeswax, and lilies. Slaves move silently across the hall. They do not speak. They are trained not to. You pass into the tablinum, the master's office. Scrolls line the walls. Bronze busts of ancestors watch from pedestals. A large window looks into the garden. A peristilium, with columns, hedges, fountains. A peacock struts along the path. You are offered wine. It is sweet, mixed with honey and warm water. You sip slowly. The cushions are soft. The room is still. Here, there is quiet wealth, not showy, but old, rooted, and beyond the city. Some Romans live in villas, country homes, sprawling and serene, with orchards and olive groves and space to breathe. Here, time moves even slower. The floors are cool stone, the ceilings high, and at night, you can hear the wind, not the shouts of neighbors, not the creak of wooden stairs, just the wind and the quiet crackle of a fire in the hearth. In Rome, your home defines you and protects you as much as it can. You return to your small insula room. The oil lamp still glows. You lie on your mattress. The straw shifts beneath you. Outside, the city breathes, and you are still. The sky is beginning to dim. The heat softens, and the streets, once again, begin to fill. Now comes a different kind of crowd. They are not rushing to markets or hauling stones. Their pace is slower, but their voice is louder. You follow them toward a low, wide building, the amphitheatrum, the arena. You do not have a seat, only standing room. But that is enough. The crowd inside is restless, not violent, but charged with something you can't quite name. Vendors move between rows, selling salted nuts and sour wine in clay cups. You hold yours tightly. It is chipped, but warm from the vendor's hands. The event begins, not with trumpets, but with a door slowly creaking open. From the shadowed tunnel, a gladiator steps forward. He is not tall, not shining in armor, but scarred, sun-darkened, silent. He walks to the center, waits. Another appears, opposite him. The weapons are real, but the blood, today, will not be. This is a rehearsal, a training match, still dangerous, but not fatal. They circle each other. You sip your wine. The wind shifts. A gull cries overhead. The crowd cheers. You stay silent. You watch, as if it's a dream, because to you, it almost is. Later, the match ends. No victor, just fatigue and applause. You leave the amphitheater quietly. Not far, another crowd gathers. This time, under a wide awning. A wooden stage stands at one end. This is a theatrum, a Roman playhouse. Tonight's show, a comedy. The masks are large, with wide mouths, painted eyes. The actors shout lines you can barely follow, but the gestures are grand, exaggerated. Someone slips a fig into your hand. You chew it slowly. It is sweet, but gritty with seeds. The play continues. There are no curtains, no lights, only moonlight and the glow of torches. Later, some drift to the popinae, the taverns. These are not places of elegance, but they are familiar. Inside, the tables are low, the walls stained with smoke, the laughter louder than it needs to be. You sit near the door, where the air is still cool, and watch the room. Two men argue over dice. A woman sings, out of tune, but not without feeling. A dog lies beneath a bench, its ribs showing, but it sleeps peacefully. You sip your second cup. The wine is stronger, or maybe you're just more tired. Outside, the night has settled. You step back into the darkness, your ears still ringing from the echoes of laughter and iron on stone. Entertainment in Rome is not always joyful. Sometimes it is rough, or strange, or loud. But it is life, color, movement. And now, you walk back home. Your limbs ache, but your mind drifts. You pass the baker's oven, still warm from the day's fire, and you exhale. The streets are darker now. Lamps flicker in windows. You hear the low chant of a priest, somewhere behind a courtyard wall. But most worship does not take place in temples. It happens at home. You return to your small room. There in the corner, a shelf, a lararium. It is not grand, just a niche in the wall, with two small figurines made of clay, the household gods, lares and penates, protectors of the home, guardians of the hearth. You light a small wick. The smoke curls upward. You place a crumb of bread beside them and a splash of wine. You say no words. You do not need to. They know. This ritual has been done for centuries and will be done centuries after you. Elsewhere in the city, a man ties a small charm around his child's neck, an amuletum. It is shaped like a hand, or a tiny phallus, or a coiled snake. He does not laugh. These things are serious. To the Romans, luck was real, danger was hidden, and protection was necessary. Outside in the forum, a woman scatters salt on the ground. She mutters to herself. She has lost something, or fears something. She draws a shape in the dust with her foot, a circle. Then she walks away. No one questions her. In the grand homes, you find shrines to larger gods, to Jupiter the king, to Vesta of the flame, to Venus for love, and Mars for power. The walls are painted with their likenesses, muscular, radiant, immortal. But even the wealthy hedge their prayers. They light candles to Fortuna. They whisper to Janus at the door. They avoid saying the names of the angry gods, just in case. And beneath all of it was fear of sickness, of bad harvests, of restless spirits. So you hang bells, burn incense, avoid walking under certain arches, and never, ever step over a threshold with your left foot first. You don't remember why, but you don't forget. As the night deepens, you lie back on your straw bed. The small flame in your lararium still glows. The clay figurines watch, as they always do. Somewhere nearby, a dog howls, a pot falls, a rooster crows, too early. You close your eyes, and though you have nothing, no armies, no titles, you have done your part. You have honored the spirits, and they, for now, will let you sleep, softly, slowly. And so, our walk through the Roman Empire comes to an end. You've seen the crowded streets and the quiet altars. You've tasted the bread and heard the murmur of public baths. You've stood in the heat of the arena and felt the stillness of a flickering oil lamp. Perhaps now, you feel the weight of time a little differently. Thousands of years have passed, and yet so much remains the same. We work, we eat, we wonder, we fear, and we search for meaning in small things. If you're still awake, thank you for being here. And if you've drifted off, even better, I'll be here again with more quiet corners of history to guide you gently into rest. Until next time, sleep well and good night.